This episode is sponsored by Lash Paradise Mascara from L'Oreal Paris.
I do not always love spending a bunch of time on my looks, on my makeup, on my hair, because I have other things to do. I want to spend my time with my dog. And that is why I am obsessed with L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise Mascara, because I put this on and people are going, okay, did you have a makeup artist come to your house? I'm like, no. The fluffy bristle brush gives fuller looking lashes instantly, and it's the perfect mascara and lash look for day into night. It lasts all day, which I'm obsessed with, because when I spend the time to do my makeup in the morning and then I want to go to dinner and I'm like, I need to do this again. I need to do this all again? Excuse me, that's not happening. Not with L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise Mascara. Are you kidding me? It's incredible. Order Lash Paradise now on Amazon.
Welcome to the chain. This is the BCC Club, and we're your hosts. I'm Kendahl and Sarah.
And I'm Sarah Shower, and each week we like to go down an internet rabbit hole. What hole are we getting into, Kendahl?
We are going deep in the hole of what the internet was very first used for. Way back in the day when it was started, it was used to have people Google, am I a lesbian?
Exactly.
And get it answered for them. That was the original use of the internet.
Yeah.
And we're going back to it today. Sarah, did you ever search, am I a lesbian?
I didn't search, am I a lesbian? I've done, am I gay, like bi. But I mean, I didn't take I never found out because you always had to submit your email. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
We'll never know.
I
Did
took
you?
many of those quizzes, which is so funny because those quizzes are not helpful in any capacity. It's not, I think I was hoping I'd go on there and it would be like, if your ear is shaped this way, you are gay. But the questions would just be like, do you find yourself wanting to be in a relationship with a woman?
Yeah.
And I would put yes, and then be like, what's the answer going to be? Am I a lesbian?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So today we're just talking about the Lesbian Master Doc is what you pulled up for us.
Yes, it's every sapphic listening to this is like, oh, the ancient texts, you know? Like, this is like Martin Luther, like, nailing those, like, Do you know the reference I'm talking about?
I do,
Good.
I think.
You're nailing, like, yeah, keep going. Yes.
So, yeah, this is like the Bible, apparently.
Yes.
To be honest, I had not heard of it until Sarah sent it to me a couple moments ago.
This is, I don't know if you're Gen Z.
I was Googling if I was a lesbian in 2014.
You would have seen this.
Yeah. I did a lot of quizzes, but I probably pulled this up and said, that's too many words and deleted it.
Oh, no, exactly. Like, before Vyvanse, I could probably get through the first page of this. I think reading this now as an adult, I could edit this down incredibly. Yeah. And I'd approach it with when we get to, like, actually reading bits of it, I would suggest a different approach to, like, get the point across a bit better. And that's me being cocky. But, yeah.
Before we get into it, how was your week, Sarah?
It was good. I'm on this, it's AAPI month, Asian American Pacific Islander month, and I read books according to the month.
Yeah.
So I got books from East Asians, South Asians, Pacific Islanders. I got books from Hawaii, Guam. I know I looked into Micronesia. And
how many books is this?
It's a lot. This is the thing I like. AAPI month, since I love cultural anthropology, which is like the study of different cultures, that is a vast amount of cultures.
Sure, that's a lot.
Like, even like East Asian cultures, like, could have like their own month. And so luckily I'm gay.
Yeah.
And a lot of the Asian or Pacific Islander authors are queer as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm gonna do 2 parts to AAPI month, where it's gonna be Pride Month.
Lead into Pride Month a little bit.
Yeah, so
that's incredible.
This is gonna be the first time in my life where the straight people get to go first.
I'm obsessed.
But I'm on this book called Minor Feelings, and so I believe she's an Asian American, and it's really, really, really good.
Wow.
She has a part about, like, stand-up, that she doesn't do stand-up, she's a poet, but she wanted to feel her poetry more, and so she was like, I'm going to humiliate myself by trying stand-up, and like, it was really cool.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
And I'm realizing that I love memoirs now and especially this writer may have, like, certain mental illnesses, but with memoirs, if they do discuss, like, mental illnesses, I get to see it through their eyes.
Yeah.
As opposed to just reading a book about, like, these are the symptoms.
Yeah.
Like, I can read about symptoms, but I want to know what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
What is like a this may be a weird question. What's a mental illness you've read about that like really changed your perspective of it?
Well, it's definitely Because We Are Bad for OCD. And then
right. I forgot you read that.
Yeah. And then What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu about CPTSD.
That's so interesting.
I think that a memoir that I would love to read about a specific mental illness, I don't have dissociative identity disorder, but like dissociation like is caused by like really extreme trauma in your childhood where you like escaped into yourself and you know like this is rough. But like I would love to read the perspective of someone who that's like, and why I say this, which is loosely related, is it's gonna sound weird. I've started to do this thing, please bear with me, called drag cleaning.
Okay.
When I get in like a costume, I become that person.
Oh, totally.
Right. And so like sometimes I get executive dysfunction and I'll put on like shoes and stuff to like help myself clean.
Yeah.
But if I pretend like I'm like dress up like some uppity bitch who's like, this place is disgusting, I literally like start to clean because I'm like in a different person's head.
Totally.
And I talk to myself and I'm like, this is gross. Like who would even do this? Like the dishes. And I'm literally end up cleaning the dishes in this like drag persona. And so why I say this is loosely related. I can totally understand like how you can get in not in a such severe way, like into a different person's like personality.
Totally.
And you change completely. Yes.
Wild. It's so, the brain is fascinating.
What did you do this week?
I can't even say what I read this week because it's so embarrassing compared to what you read.
No, we're literally talking, this is a lesbian episode.
I'm reading The Romance Recipe.
That's great. Are other people going to be like, what, Kendahl? Wait, what's it about?
It's not, it's fine. I just read a book I've read like 6 books this week. I'm not even kidding. I'm like reading so many books. I am going into a new genre. I can't remember what it's called, but it's this new book that's out about dinosaurs. I don't know if it's new, but it's like on the up and up. It's about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So I just bought that, so I'm going to read that. But I'm currently reading The Romance Recipe, which is, it's just like about a woman who owns a restaurant and her head chef and her start fucking.
Oh, yeah.
You know how it goes. And it's fun. But it's not my favorite one I've read so far, but it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like weird. I was saying the other day, I was like, some of them are weird because I don't need it to be like, some people are like, oh, I need it to be like spicy. I like don't need that. Like I totally am fine. Like even I read a book where it was like 500 pages and it was like not really about the relationship. They just happened to have a relationship in there, but it wasn't like anything. I don't even think they kissed in it. Like I don't really need that. But sometimes I'll like pick up a book that I have no idea what's on the inside. Like I just read the plot. And there was one I just bought where it looks like literally 2 college, like they could be college or high school. They look like young girls in a car going on a road trip. And I can't remember what the title is, but it's like about a road trip.
Yeah. And
it looks so PG.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this does feel crazy to me because The Romance Recipe, you can tell it's the cover. You're like, this is probably sexual. But apparently I haven't read it yet, but I love going on Book Talk and like once I've bought a book, kind of like seeing what people think about it. And everyone's like, it's so inappropriate. And like, it's so not inappropriate in a bad way, but it's like so smutty and insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's something, I would have bought this for my like 10-year-old daughter and been like, it's a book about 2 teens on a road trip. Enjoy.
Yeah.
It's not about teenagers, apparently. It's about full-on adults who are like banging their way through this road trip.
Oh yeah, that's like a Four Loko Tide Pod situation where it's like it's so colorful. You're like children, and then you like consume it, and you're like, nope.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild. So I haven't read that one yet, but I'm just reading. It's honestly nice. I feel like what I really wanted was to spend less time on my phone.
Yeah.
And so I think I was like, there are times where I want to read like a book that is more educational.
Yeah.
But what I want to start doing is I think mixing it up where it's like at one time I'm reading a book that's educational and a book that's just like fun.
Yeah.
Because I think it's like when I'm in the mood to scroll on TikTok, I can just instead of that read this like trashy book.
Oh yeah.
And it feels kind of like my brain's rotting, but it's not. It's like less so than if I was just scrolling on TikTok, you know what I mean? So I really wanted to like find books that I felt like was true entertainment, like as if I was watching reality TV. It's the same feeling. So I feel good about it because I am like spending so much less time on my phone. And like when I go to bed, I'm not on my phone. I'm like reading a book so my sleep's been better. And I feel like it's but before I go to bed and I'm like half tired, I don't want to like read a book about something sad or about something like, so I would usually just go on my phone to watch like funny little videos on the internet. But now I'm like, oh, I can just read my stupid little book that is like dumb and is written like a teenager wrote it maybe.
Well, I mean, that's what I do, like nonfiction in the morning and fiction at night, because fiction is to unwind. Yeah, and the thing is like you're not necessarily like learning, but like you said, you're sleeping better. And like it like helps your like blood pressure, right? You're like, so it's not just learning, your physical health is getting better.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like it's because in life, like when I watch TV, it's like a lot of the times I watch just stupid reality TV shows that do nothing for my brain. And then sometimes I'm like, I want to watch a movie about like a documentary about this specific topic and learn a lot. But I think with reading in the past, I've just always put myself, like I'm always going to be in the place to watch an educational documentary, which usually I'm not in the place to watch an educational documentary. Usually I just want to watch Housewives or whatever. And so I'm like excited. I'm like, I feel like it's easier to replace my phone. Because I just don't want to be on my phone anymore. I feel like I want to throw my phone in the trash. And never see it again.
I think that's such a cool thing though. Like the fact that like, if I think about like a comparable situation, a lot of people are like addicted to their phones. So what you've done with reading is that like you recognize you may have a problem with your phone, and so like you still want to be entertained, so you find like moderation.
Yes, that's what I think I started thinking of reading as entertainment, which I've never thought of it before. So it's like, well, there's so many forms of entertainment. And sometimes I go see an Oscar-nominated film which could be compared to like a really good book that everyone's like, you gotta read this really well-written book. But sometimes I do not want to watch 3 Billboards every fucking night. Like I'm not in this headspace to always do that. And usually when I'm in a bad mood, that's when I start watching, like, not in a bad mood, but if I'm like have a stressful week at work or I'm just not feeling my best, that's when I'm watching the trashiest of trashy TV. I'm watching like comfort TV. And I feel like these are so nice where it's like also nothing goes wrong really ever. It's just easy. It's easy to read. It's written like a Wattpad novel. I also am like learning. Apparently, I was like, oh, publishing a book is like the hardest thing you could do. Apparently it's not. Apparently it's pretty easy to publish.
I think it's to self-publish, but I don't know about like with a publishing company.
No, not with a but I mean like I was looking at, because there were basically my partner, we were on a work trip, and so we were in a hotel, so I couldn't like go get a book, and they always use Libby, I think is what it is.
Oh yeah.
And so they can like get stuff on their Kindle through the library. And I was like doing all this research on Book Talk and figuring out what books I wanted to read and like save them into a folder, whatever. And everyone I searched, Jordan was like, the library doesn't have this. And they were like, I've never seen the library not have a book, like ever in my life. They were like, the library, they were like, you've named 10 books that this library just doesn't have, and they don't even have this author.
I have to ask, when they said, because I use Libby as well, when they said that it's not available or they don't physically have it?
No, they don't physically have it.
Okay,
Because a lot of them was like, oh, you have to wait 8 weeks or whatever. But they like don't have it, and this author's not in the system. And then I would research it, and it's like the TikTok that recommended to me, I go to that page, and it's the person who wrote the book being like, I wrote this book, please read it. And I was like, oh, this is like a person who just self-published this book. And I like some of these books, they look so, I mean, a couple of them I've gotten at Barnes and Nobles. These are like books, they have typos in them, like full typos in them. I'm like, this is insane. So now I'm like, I'm going to write a book. And I have an idea for a book, and I'm like, I want to write a book. Because I've read so many romance novels at this point. I'm like, I know how to write one of these.
I mean, you could also get like someone who like writes with you. So like you kind of just like let it all out, and they are like format it.
That's nice. So we'll see. Maybe I'm about to be on the best-selling authors list.
Or you could start off by writing an internet forum page. Wattpad, or like a Lesbian Master Doc Kendahl edition.
Because isn't that what Twilight was?
Well, Wattpad?
No. 50 Shades of Grey.
Wasn't
50 Shades of Grey a Twilight fan fiction? That they then turned into a movie not about Twilight, but
weirdly enough, if you take it back a little bit further, it was inspired by Gerard Way. And they started because of 9/11. So you can actually trace 50 Shades of Grey to the Twin Towers collapsing. I know, it's like a whole thing online.
Oh, man, that's
the butterfly
insane.
effect
Is crazy. I mean, but really, I'm not trying to minimize 9/11, but the fact that if 9/11 hadn't happened, Twilight would have not happened.
Oh, yeah.
right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Oh.
All of the early 2000s would have been different. I mean, just different.
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart wouldn't probably be
Alive.
famous or alive. Yeah. Who knows? That's great. That's crazy. No Team Edward, no any of that.
It's like, oh my God, it really changed every single part of
Everything.
America. Yeah.
But also, it's like, I was just watching a clip the other day from the Unplanned podcast. You know that fucking podcast?
No.
Oh my God. Well, I think
Is
it's
it
called the
bad or
Unplanned Podcast.
good?
It's bad. It's I can't fucking remember their names. I think it's Unplanned. It's those two parents.
Oh yeah.
They're like Christian influencers.
Oh.
They are so, honestly, the wife, because of course I hate watch it.
Yeah.
I think I could like her. Like, I feel like if she was removed from her world, like, I think she critically thinks for herself. Like, I think she has thoughts that, I think she recently stopped showing her kids on the internet, maybe. I don't know. She thinks about things. Her husband, Jesus Christ, he's like an idiot. I don't know. But they were talking the other day about how, there was like a clip on the internet about how she was like, you know, I was watching Toy Story the other day with our son.
Yeah.
And they said, shut up in it. Like, that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
that back then it was okay to say shut up in kids' TV.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what if I would do if my son said shut up and I was like, where did you hear that? And he said Toy Story.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, parents are really becoming they're becoming feral.
Yeah.
They need to get a real slap in the face.
No, seriously.
They need to be told that it's like the world does not fucking revolve around you and your child.
Yeah.
And your children. Wouldn't it make, I'm like, it's so, I guess not teaching your kids words to me is such a funny parenting tactic. It's like, what the hell does that do?
Yeah.
Versus like, shut up, first of all, isn't a bad word.
Yeah.
Technically speaking.
Yeah.
But also just tell your kid, don't say that or you'll get in trouble.
Yeah.
Rather than just like language is so weird. It's like you've just decided this word is like, it's also like the way you say shut up, like all of those things that you're just not teaching your kid because you're hoping they just never find out about the word shut up. I don't know. It's just so bizarre. But I think parents nowadays, like really, not all of them, of course, but parents nowadays are really, like, they wouldn't let shows that came out when we were kids, like they would absolutely not let their kids watch.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like That's So Raven would be on like Nick at Night now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is insane. But just because they talked about some real stuff and like, I think there was like, they would have boyfriends and stuff.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by Lash Paradise Mascara from L'Oreal Paris.
I do not always love spending a bunch of time on my looks, on my makeup, on my hair because I have other things to do. I want to spend my time with my dog. That is all I want to do. I want to cuddle her all the time and I don't want to focus or put time into anything else. And that is why I am obsessed with L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise Mascara, because I put this on and people are going, okay, did you have a makeup artist come to your house? I'm like, no. It's just L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise Mascara. It gives me so much volume and length. It's perfect for a done-up eye look. The intense volume and length of Lash Paradise gives luxe level lashes. Try saying that 3 times fast. Luxe level lashes. The fluffy bristle brush gives fuller looking lashes instantly, and it's the perfect mascara and lash look for day into night. It lasts all day, which I'm obsessed with, because when I spend the time to do my makeup in the morning and then I want to go to dinner and I'm like, I need to do this again. I need to do this all again. Excuse me, that's not happening. Not with L'Oreal Paris Lash Paradise Mascara. Are you kidding me? It's incredible. Order Lash Paradise now on Amazon.
This is my thing, and I will never tell people this, but I want to tell so many people, you've got to stop being friends with one person. And it's not like I want you to be my friend. I'm like, I can tell that they treat you bad. They talk to you weird. They're maybe passive aggressive. I'm like, they're weighing you down. Let your spirit run free.
Are you talking about her and her husband?
Yeah. Like,
oh, yeah.
She has potential. So many people have potential. I'm like, get away. But
yeah, she just like critically thinks for herself. But anyway, even that I would, but not. I disagree with her on everything. Like, her and I could not be friends. I just am like, she is less annoying to me than this husband who is just, everything that comes out of his mouth, I'm like wrong, incorrect. I'm always like, I'm here to hear an opinion. Anything he says, I'm just like, I don't even need to hear your thoughts on it. It's just such a bad opinion. But anyways, I just think that really surprised me because like, shut up.
Yeah.
You think that's a word that shouldn't be in kids' TV? That's like not even a bad word.
Seriously.
That's like when I got in trouble in elementary school because I said, I wasn't even mad. I think I just jokingly was like, that sucks. And my teacher was like, don't say sucks.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember being so confused because my parents had never told me that was bad. Like I said sucked. It wasn't that crazy. He said I should have said stinks. I was like, that's gross. But I guess I'm like, technically speaking, it's short for suck a dick. But I was like saying sucks. Oh, yeah. Like that sucks dick.
Yeah.
I was like, I was in second grade. I clearly wasn't going, that sucks dick. But also, if someone had told me, oh, sucks means suck a dick, so it's really inappropriate, I would have been like, oh my God, I will never say that again.
Yeah.
But I remember just being like confused and being like, why is that bad?
No,
just
seriously.
Because you guys deemed it worse than stinks? I don't really understand.
My parents raised me super Christian, and they taught me that the word fool in the Bible is like a really heavy insult. So in elementary school, I would literally call people fools.
You fool!
You fool. And I remember like I thought I was really doing something, but turns out it's just a super Christian thing. Like when God calls people fools, they're idiots.
That is really funny. I can't imagine babysitting a kid and then being like, you're a fool.
Yeah.
I think that would hit me. Like I would be like, I fucking am a fool, aren't I? Shit.
We but also so we're both gay. This is supposed to be
we're both fools.
Yes, we're both fools
because we're gay.
Yes,
and we're gay because we're fools.
People are like tuning in for like a Pride episode. We did rant about straight people for a second. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is I'm gonna clear up a misconception for all the lesbians listening to this. My sexuality is not motivated by hate. For men, it's just something that's a part of me. You know what I mean? Like, I hate men, but that's not, like, sexual.
Well, I have an inability to be charmed by a man sexually or emotionally or anything. I'm charmed in general. Yeah. So it really changes the way... And I don't mean to sound like we're so special, but I do feel like it is crazy that we are some of the only people that, like, men's opinions don't affect the way I live my life.
Yes.
In the way I get dressed. I'm not even going to get, you know what? I'm not doing prefaces anymore.
Yeah.
I'm done prefacing.
Yeah.
But, you know, in the way I get dressed, in the way I move about my day, in the things I say, in the career moves I make, in the way just nothing. Like a man is never, I don't live, well, my roommate Charles is a man, but my partner is not a man. I don't hear men's opinions often. Yeah. And I don't care about their opinions. Like, I genuinely move through the world without their thoughts, which is wild. And we're all affected by men.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not like I got out of the way of that. But in my day-to-day life, I don't think about, that is not the first person I'm thinking about when I do stuff.
Yes, I can explain this. I want to so bad. Okay, so we've decentered men, but we still exist in a patriarchy, right? Mm-hmm. So we live in a patriarchal culture, a culture that centers men. So most people center men. You've heard people say decenter men to women, but men center men, right? And so this is going to be how you decenter something, how you know you center something. Everyone's goals in life at the top are love, intimacy, and connection. And then beneath that are the methods that you use to achieve love, intimacy, and connection, which can be men, alcohol, sex, drugs, right? They're things that you use to get to love, intimacy, connection. And using any of those things in moderation, absolutely fine. However, when someone has centered men or centered alcohol, they equate love, intimacy, and connection with men, right? So, like, when people, like, first meet lesbians, they maybe not even, like, homophobic on purpose. Yeah. They can't wrap their mind around, well, how do you guys date? Right. How do you love each other? How do you touch each other? Like, it's from a place of ignorance, but it's not, like, a lot of times it is bigotry, but it's, like, genuine confusion.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and so you can see a similar thing happen when you know someone has centered alcohol. So alcohol is, again, like men, a method. And sometimes when you go out and, you know, you're drinking at a party, which is totally fine, you'll meet someone who's not drinking, and in your mind, you can't wrap your mind around why they're here if they're not drinking. Mm-hmm. It's like the whole purpose of going out to connect with others is to be with others. Right. Yeah. And so if you can't fathom how someone can connect without alcohol or be intimate without a man, you have centered the second row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we live in a culture. The thing is you don't have to be a lesbian to decenter men. Anyone can decenter men.
Yeah.
The bis, the pans, the gay men, the straight men, the straight women, everyone can decenter men. The thing is if you want to.
Yeah.
And I think...
And it's an extra mile, I would say.
It is, yeah.
Versus us, it's more natural.
Yeah.
I would say.
Well, because
we genuinely don't care.
Yes, because here's the thing. So we live in a patriarchal culture. So when you decenter men, you're entering a new culture. And for us as lesbians, we surround ourselves with lesbians. And if you went to another culture and you would already surround yourself with people who speak the same language, you're going to learn that culture's language a lot quicker. That doesn't mean that other people who didn't get that can't also learn the language.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's just a new culture. The thing is we will never escape a patriarchy, but there are subcultures within cultures, and that decentering man is it's a subculture.
Because it is wild how your brain can be warped to thinking, even and throughout the year with any election that's going on.
Yeah.
I do feel like I have to very actively, take myself out of my bubble of gay Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And be like, what is happening in this country?
Yeah.
Because I try to stay up to date, but I just mean I am around gay people 24/7.
Yeah.
So do I know homophobia is rampant?
Yeah.
Of course I know that. Logically.
Yeah.
Is it hard for me to even imagine because I only talk to gay people and I have gay friends with babies and we live whenever I see a straight couple, I can feel when I am with my friends.
You know they're straight.
I can feel they're straight, but I can feel they're intimidated.
Yeah.
I feel powerful as a lesbian in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, and most straight women I talk to, I feel like they are like, I am an idiot because I'm straight.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm sorry. You talk because I don't, you know what I mean? They're just all like, because everyone I hang out with is lesbian or a gay man or whatever. So it feels like such a normal thing that I do have to take myself out of that and not think about my life in Los Angeles, I guess, unless it's like my local elections.
Yeah.
But I have to be like, what is happening in the middle of America, because it's a whole different world. And logically I know that, but to remember that, to feel like we have so much work to do with gay rights. Yes, obviously I know that. But then thinking that when I'm literally living on a planet, it feels like with only lesbians, it's like, I'm like, well, it seems like we're pretty good actually.
Oh, yeah. You're like, oh, I'm fine. And then you realize, oh, my community in the South is not fine.
It's not fine at all.
Yeah,
yes,
we gotta keep, so it's, that's why I love cultural anthropology. That's why I'm reading for there's so many different subcultures, and a lot of people when they meet someone from a different culture, they do that thing. They're not the same, but they're kind of similar. You know how straight people will meet you and be like, oh, go ahead, you're lesbian, or no, I hate men too. That's how a lot of people approach other people from other cultures.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. It's you're reacting that way because they're a bit unfamiliar.
Yeah.
But just calm down. They are just of another culture. But yeah, and so that's what it the thing is you know how a lot of new sapphics are always how do I pass as gay? Because usually when you see the more butch androgynous lesbians register as lesbians, but the thing is with a culture, what can help other people from that culture identify you is not just how you dress.
Yeah.
It's how you act, how you speak. It's there's language that you use. So that's a lot of femmes and baby gays don't think that you have to dress a certain, I mean, you can if you want to.
Yeah.
But once you start to immerse yourself in the culture, you really, you could find your style, but people, you're going to pick up on things similar to being in a new culture, and people will be able to recognize, oh, that is something gay. So this person is flagging.
Yeah. Totally. 100%.
Yeah, so I'm trying to give some gay advice for all I feel like every lesbian who listens to this or sapphic is literally 30 or 25, and they're like, "Wow, thank you, Sarah."
Hey, no,
I typed this with my buzz cut. I'm like,
did you ever go when you first came out of the closet? Did you go through an era where you were dressing really quote unquote gay?
It was hideous. It was okay. There was a vest. I did button up shirts, but I only buttoned one button at the bottom, tied it, big long necklace with a scorpion on it. At every single fucking gay event that I went to, they're like, oh, a Scorpio. And I'm like, I'm a Libra. I just like scorpions because they glow in the dark. And then they were like, oh, cool, I'm from Arizona. And I'd be like, I'm from South Carolina. And they'd be like, are there scorpions in there? And I'd be like, no. And then but yeah. And yeah, had this awful fake tan, couldn't reach my back, so my back was white.
Perfect.
That's not even a gay thing. That was just me.
Yeah, that's not a common gay thing. That's just a choice that Sarah made.
A lot of Doc Martens, a lot of skinny jeans. Still long
Kind of what's going on with your nails now. You one hand, no nails, one hand, nails.
But this is not a gay thing. This is a lazy thing.
Yeah.
I have one full set of nails on my left hand, and then my right hand is just barren.
Wow.
What did you look like when you first came out?
I looked the same. I feel like I'm just now coming into my style. It was hard. I couldn't afford clothes for a long time.
Same, yeah.
So I couldn't really choose what I wore.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in high school, I was very... I had acne. It's just like, what even is style? It was just me covering up all my insecurities. You know what I mean? So like,
yes.
I wore crop tops because I was embarrassed that my ass was big. So I wanted to show that I had it, this is all toxic, but this is me in high school. I also used to wrap myself in saran wrap to get rid of water weight. So there's a lot there. This is not advice. I'm just saying that I would I thought my waist was smaller, so I would only wear crop tops because I was insecure about my weight. Yeah. And then I would, put so much makeup on because of my acne. So my acne was, I had so much makeup on, and I wore like matte lipstick was really in, and I was very feminine. And I remember one time I'd never bought anything from Pink before the store. Yeah. And my mom took me on like a shopping spree there, which was like for my birthday. Yeah. Which was like very exciting. And so though those shirts from Pink were not my style years down the line, I still wore them because I had no other clothes. Yeah. So it was really hard to find my style. I think I'm now just finding my style. Yeah. And getting comfortable with my style as I am able to like try things out and purchase items and all that type of stuff. But so yeah, I kind of looked the same. I always had long hair. Yeah. Once my acne was gone, I never really wore makeup again. Yeah. Because I just literally, I like promised I was like, if I ever don't have acne, I'm never wearing makeup because I would just like feel so, it would feel so good. But now I think post-COVID, I have such sensory with makeup that I don't wear makeup anyways. But I also just, I don't know, I'm lazy and I don't want to put on makeup. Oh yeah. But I'm just finding my style now. But I feel like I don't know, do I look gay? Yes. Okay. I feel like I kind of look gay now. Yeah. That I'm more, but it doesn't feel like I'm putting on being gay. Yeah. Which I definitely did in my early 20s, not my outfits, but in my words. Yeah. It was like you couldn't talk to me without me being like, well, I'm gay. You know me being gay. Who else eats pussy? It's like at a job interview. People are like, please, ma'am, stop. So I talked a lot about being gay and it was embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. I think, the more someone talks about like, this is going to sound weird because we're talking about being gay, but like the more someone... Actually, you know what? That's not a fair thing. Yeah, when you first come out, you do a JoJo Siwa, where like you want to just lean really hard into your sexuality, and you end up looking a mess.
Whereas now I feel like, I was saying to my partner the other day, I was like, I forget I'm gay all the time because we are like mostly hang out with queer people. Yeah, and I am. I like fully forget I'm gay. No. Like it's like the straight. That's what I like. It feels like I'm straight. Because when we have like, I swear, when we have a straight couple over, we will comment like our friend, like we'll say, like I would never, like if you and Naomi came over, I would never be like, oh,
well, we're not straight.
No, I know. I know, but if you two came over, I wouldn't. If I was telling my friend, oh, I had dinner last night with my friends, Naomi and Sarah, queer couple. But if I had a straight couple over and I was telling my friend about it, I was like, well, I had dinner with my friends are a straight couple. I would say that. Yeah. Which feels like opposite. Like it feels like that is not normal. But I feel so like it's normal to be gay in my life. Well, yeah, because like every person I fucking know is, I can think of like 3 straight people I know.
Well, I mean, that's just part of being a culture where like usually the other people within the culture are going to assume that they're of the culture. So if someone is from outside the culture and you want to clear that up, that's like how I know that it's so great when straight people use the term partner, but like sometimes I do want they don't have to clarify for everyone, but sometimes I would like them to clarify for the gays in the crowd.
Why do they do that again?
Just to make it more acceptable. So actually, like, if straight people start using the term, but it's just
But then you can't be wearing. You have to. It is confusing when you say partner, and there's a lot of straight women who dress really cool. And they're wearing. I know you can't dress like a lesbian, but also. Yes, you can.
You can.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
There's stereotypes. Yeah, you can. So if you're wearing Birkenstocks and light wash baggy jeans and a T-shirt that says fucking Mitski on it.
Yeah,
and
with
then
a
you
short
say,
haircut.
my partner.
Yeah.
It irritates me later when you say you have a boyfriend. Because I'm like, what is this little game we're playing where this whole time I've been like, are you gay?
Well,
because for some reason I need to fucking know. I feel like I have to know when someone's gay. Like I went to a workout class. I'm fully engaged to be married.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for anyone to date. But I was in a workout class the other day. There was a substitute, Ellen DeGeneres. I'm not even kidding. This person looked like Ellen and sounded like Ellen. And I was like, gay, for sure gay. But obviously I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm pretty sure they're gay. And I needed them to look at me. Like I needed them to make eye contact with me, which is insane because I was dressed. They wouldn't assume I was gay, I don't think, from the way I was dressed for this workout class or the way I was acting. I wasn't really talking. I was just doing the workout. But I was like, I need them to look at me so they clock that I'm being like, I'm gay, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just need them to know.
I just need, I think I feel this like sense of relief when I find out if they're like bi or like queer or something and they use the term I'm like, thank God, one of us. Like when I went to my brother's wedding, there was like my sister's a lesbian with her partner and then me and Naomi. And I felt like kind of alone. And then there was a gaggle of bisexuals. And I was like, oh, thank God you guys are here. Because it was like, but so they were using like, someone used partner. And then I found out they were all bi. And I was like, we're home.
Yeah, totally.
What was I going to say? Oh, crap. No, yeah, like, and it's not like necessarily a bad thing. It's like how I have a lot of polyamorous friends, like love them. There was something the other day that threw me off so hard. A young couple that lives in my building, we were talking or something, and they described themselves as swingers. And I did not know what they meant because I was like, are you talking you're polyamorous or you just swing? And it's not that like anyone can swing, but like I normally associate that with a certain age bracket.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
That I've never heard a young person. So I assume if in a similar situation, if you were polyamorous and you talked to someone who was like 25 who said they were a swinger, you'd want to ask them, because they're not inherently the same thing.
Yeah.
But you'd want to like, hey, so do you mean it like this? And it's not because you like, it's just what you want to know. Am I finding community here?
Yeah. Totally. 100%.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to talk about compulsory heterosexuality, which is basic. This is it's the opposite of optional. Yeah, it's like exactly what it sounds like. Being straight is something our culture tries to force on us. Yeah, so we live in a patriarchy. We center, like a lot of people are born, like you're socialized to center men. Like it's a culture of men. So like you're taught to be attractive for dudes, talk in a nice flirty way for dudes, laws passed by dudes, opinions by dudes.
Yeah.
Like we're socialized by dudes. So compulsory is like, yeah, it's not optional. You're socialized this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the great thing is we got ADHD and autism. And this is where you hit something interesting. So like to be socialized in a culture, you have to pick up on social cues. So there's like always, whenever I meet like a neurodivergent lesbian, especially, I'm like, I feel like what came first, the cart or the horse? Like, did you realize you were neurodivergent before the gay part? Because the thing is like, that's not a mistake. If you cannot pick up on a lot of social cues, you're not even going to convince yourself that you're attracted to men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love the show Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched?
Yes, I do.
It is so positive and delightful, especially the American version. I don't mean to compare, but I've watched all the versions. But the American one, there's some real stars on that show.
Yeah.
What I will say, though, is it's just so relaxing watching people so clearly know what they feel and so clearly communicate it, because I'm sure they've been to years of therapy since they were 5 years old, for usually on this show.
Yes.
To learn how to like voice what they feel. And it all just feels so simple, where it's like we could really all take a page out of these books that they're reading, where they will, and multiple times on the show, one of them has gone on a date with the opposite gender and then left, and like they basically come out on camera, but it's so not a big deal.
Yeah.
That it's not a big deal at all. Like one of them went on a date with the man and the guy's like, how was it? Interviewing her. She's like, it was nice, but I think I probably should only date women because I think I'm attracted to them. And he was like, oh, okay.
Yes.
And he was like, have you ever said that before? She was like, no, I just realized. And I was like, that's so nice. She like it looks like she has no emotion about it. Like she does not care. She's just like, oh, this is good data for me to like know now that I'm not attracted to men. But even just the way they have dates, like they'll go on these dates that are so normal, where it's like they're just, I think I've said this before, they're just like walking around a park. They don't talk very much. Mm-hmm. They like will say, oh, what's your favorite movie? This is my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And at the end, like either you, like me watching will be like, oh, I don't know if this date is going that well. It seems like they're not really having fun. And then they'll interview them at the end, and both of them are like, that was the best date ever. Like, that was so much fun. I felt like it was so relaxing and we have so much in common. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. Or one of them will be like, I really liked hanging out with you, but I don't think that we like have like a romantic connection. And one of them will be like, oh, I totally understand that. And it's like not weird. It just feels like so like healthy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think there is something to be said about like, these are a lot of people who maybe like figuring out people's emotions didn't come very naturally.
Yeah.
So they've had to do so much work to get to where they are.
Yeah.
That now I'm like, you're leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else because no one else was putting in that work. Because it's kind of like sorry, I shouldn't say Harry Potter, but we hate J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
But I remember one time being like, why are the wizards living in such a horrible world where they have no lamps and everything's dirty? It feels like if they were magic, because at this point, the Muggle world is almost more advanced than magic. It's like to transport now in the Wizarding world, you have to go inside of a fireplace and throw dust at yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're dirty all day from being in this fireplace because you wanted to go somewhere, and now we just have like cars.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is everything so old? And they just carry candles everywhere. It feels insane. And my mom, who knows a lot about Harry Potter, was like, well, when all the world began, humans, Muggles, were really working because they were really trying to come up with ways to make things innovative because they didn't have anything. So they did all this extra work, and they came up with science and architecture and wizards were just waving a wand, and they didn't have an urge to change anything. So slowly over time, the Muggle world became much more advanced than the Wizarding world.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of that, because it feels like, if you sometimes are worse at a specific skill and you put in all this extra time, you really surpass.
Yes.
That was the longest rant I've ever gotten. I don't know if that even makes sense.
No, it does. It's like marginalized groups are more emotionally intelligent usually because they've had to go through a lot of shit. Like white guys really don't have to figure themselves out at all because they don't need to. They're privileged enough. And it's like, so of course they're going to be like 35 talking about, oh my God, women are people. And like, meanwhile, women at 35 are like, discovering, I don't know.
Well, because even on Love on the Spectrum, there was a part where this therapist came in and was talking with one of the guys who had been on a date, and he now has merch that says all the questions he asked.
Oh, yeah.
Basically just rapid fire. I don't know if you saw this, but he like rapid fire.
Is he from
asked
Greenville, South Carolina?
I don't remember. He's very sweet though, but he basically just for like 30 minutes was like, do you like dogs? Do you like cats?
Does he have a big smile?
Yes.
He's from Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh my God.
Which is where I'm from. Yeah.
And he just rapid fire asked all these questions. She seemed to be having a great time, to be honest. She was like, yes, I do. No, I don't. I do like those. She was fine. But later the therapist was like, so that makes, like, basically trying to help him be like, when you just talk the whole time,
it
makes someone feel like maybe you're not interested in what they have to say.
Yeah.
And I literally remember being like, there are a lot of men who could really use this talking to.
Seriously.
And they don't have autism, but it just would be a helpful skill to learn that sometimes you should ask for someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
So I just think, so the show, I'm just always like, wow, what an inspiring way to watch people date. It's so healthy and positive.
That's why I love autistic people so much. The lack of subtext. Oh, God, it's just so forthcoming. It's just so, but this is our lesbian episode. But also there's a lot of autistic lesbians. But I love the autistic.
I love us trying to make it sound purposeful that we've got off topic. We said, no, this makes sense actually why we're talking about this.
Some people, oh God, reading this Master Doc is like giving me, it's like,
this is the most ADHD thing because what's happening is we refuse to open the Master Doc. We're can't click the links like too much.
It was written by like a teenager, but she had put together some decent, she should have bullet pointed it because it's just a wall of text. How do I know if I'm a lesbian? It's way more important to ask yourself if you can truthfully be happy with a man than if you're attracted to them. Okay, how do I know I'm a lesbian? So I would recommend decentering men. So everyone can decenter men, right? But if you center men and you assume that love, intimacy, and connection can only be achieved through men, and you're bi or you're a lesbian or anything like that, you're going to have a hard time figuring out your sexuality. Decenter men, and if you happen to be attracted to men still, after you've worked on yourself and that's right, then go ahead, date them. But if you decenter men and you're like, I actually never want to be a part of, I don't even want to use them as a method to love, then that's how you know.
Yeah.
Shortened it. You don't got to read all this. And so you're like, how do you decenter men? Look up on, this is actually very, so you're entering a new culture if you decenter men. So go up online and search, how do I prepare to enter a new culture? And it's going to give you a breakdown of language, dress, customs, phrases, right? And it takes you a couple months to a year and actually a very long time to integrate into a new culture. So don't beat yourself up if it takes a while. But I like fictional male celebrities. That's actually a huge red flag in a lesbian. Like someone who doesn't know they're gay.
Well, who's a man a celebrity that you're like, he does it for me?
I absolutely cannot stand most male celebrities. It actually pisses me off when I think about, I'm sorry, they get away with doing the bare minimum.
Oh, I know.
They're just, what, they're like, they are nothing. Oh my God, whenever a man is talking about the most romantic thing he ever did, I'm like, a lesbian could beat that. And like, besides that one guy who planted, he had this like massive field and he planted a bunch of trees and flowers in the shape of a guitar so his wife could see it from heaven.
She died?
Yeah. And so like, but when you see an aerial view, it looks like a guitar.
Wow.
And so she could have music in heaven.
That's very sweet.
That's the only man I respect. Sorry.
What about Channing Tatum?
Oh my God. I knew
Come on. He's so cool.
Okay, here's the thing. I would not talk to any of these men, but Channing Tatum, I could see,
marrying?
Yeah.
Me too. Marrying and having kids with and having a life together? Me too.
Yeah. Who's a decent man? I don't know. They just piss me off so much.
I know. They piss me off too.
Who's besides Channing Tatum? Who else?
No one. I mean, Channing Tatum, that's it.
Oh my God. Men are just so... but I think I've liked men before. You like men's attention, right? Here's the thing. Okay, so centering something and addiction are not the same. But like, okay, so you know how a narcissist will love bomb you? You know, you get 2 solid months of a nice feeling and then they start to treat you like crap. And the reason why you hang on is because you want to get back to that initial feeling. That sounds like alcohol addiction, right? You got a solid couple months of like, oh, I love this feeling. And then now you're hooked on it and you're trying to recreate that spark.
Yeah.
Honey, if you're trying to get back to the feeling that you had in the beginning, you have a full-blown problem. But also, centering and addiction are not the same thing. Addiction is the step beyond centering. Yes. You've liked the feeling that men have given you initially.
Yeah.
But... yeah.
Also, I haven't fully formed this opinion. It just came to me, so
let's hear it.
I might change it by the time we edit this episode. But I feel like, so in the book I'm reading,
Yes.
Romance Recipe,
Yes.
one of them has been out as a lesbian for a long time.
Uh-huh.
One of them was just engaged to a man, broke it off because she was like, I'm bi,
Yeah.
and now is sleeping with the owner of the restaurant. The owner of the restaurant is like, I feel like we can't be serious because I feel like you need to go explore women and what dating women is like. Which is obviously annoying because shut up. I'm trying to read a good book where you guys get together, so you're causing issues. But also it's like, that's not your choice. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. But I was like, I think sometimes people get so caught up with like, well, I liked this one man or I liked them, whatever. I'm like, it does not matter to me. It does not matter if you once were in love with a man. You can still, to me, it's all, I'm explaining this so badly, but it's like if you want to date to me, there's good odds that every person could date a woman. Because why would you not want to? Yeah. So I think when people are like, oh, I could never date a woman. I'm like, well, but I think when people are always like, well, why are so many people gay nowadays? It's like, because I think it's very common. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing. So I think it, without any societal standards, it is very common. But I think dating a man and dating a woman, take out all the society stuff, is the same. Like, when I have my straight friends talk about what it's like dating a man, I'm like, oh, I've been there with my ex-girlfriend. It was just like that. It's like all the same. And there are really nice men and there are really horrible lesbians. So sometimes I'm like, when people have that anxiety of like, well, I've dated, but I've only dated men. So dating women is going to be completely different. In a way, I'm like, that's kind of still centering men. Because dating is not inherently about men. So if you've dated. And you've learned skills from dating. So you should be fine dating a woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, I understand like the bisexuals and queer women who are like in relationships with men who are like still feel like, and I'm saying that you're like, you could be like perfectly, completely happy in that relationship, obviously. But sometimes like you want to, you wonder like, oh, like what would it be like if I dated a woman or something like that? And I think about it like, it's two separate cultures, right? Like as much as I hate it here, I love living in America. But like if for the rest of my life I lived in America, knowing that I could have gone to like the UK, and sure, that's like an English speaking country, and like they kind of would be similar. They're not the same. And I guess just like the ability to like, oh, this is what it would have been like.
Yes. Yeah. What would you say to someone who's in that situation? Because I feel like I see that so much on the internet and I find it bizarre. Where people will be like, I'm gay. Like, they'll say they're gay. Yeah. I'm gay, but here's my annoying boyfriend. Yeah. And I'm like, if I was him, I would feel hurt by that. But also I find it very interesting because I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm just like, okay, break up with your boyfriend then? I don't really understand this, like, oh, I'm trapped in this heterosexual relationship. Get me out of here. You know what I mean?
I think it's an overcorrecting thing. 'Cause again, people say it jokingly, but no one's sexuality is really motivated by hate. If you hate someone, that's like great. But like if you ask me why I'm not attracted to men, it's not because I hate them. Like genuinely, truly. Like it's just they're not a factor in my head. So like whenever someone in any sexuality, like whether it be straight, gay, or anything, if you say or you refer to hating your partner, that's not relatable for any culture. Because like you think about across like that would be absolutely unacceptable whether it be straight or gay. Yeah. If you called out the partner that you love in front of someone else, it's like that's just blatantly disrespectful. And if you do that to someone you love, I don't want you doing that to us. Yeah. So like be like, oh, this is my boyfriend, and then that's sort of, you know what I mean?
Totally. And it's not to say that I think you shouldn't be in that relationship. If you identified as a lesbian your whole life and then fell in love with a man, and you still identify as a lesbian, pop up. I'm like, that, whatever. I don't care. But I just think it's interesting where I'm like, most of the time watching videos like that, I'm just like, okay, then break up with your boyfriend. I don't know. It seems like it'd be better for him and better for you if you want to explore dating women. Because I guess you're right that it's like queer culture is different. But in terms of like the individual relationships, I think that you can have a gay relationship, a straight relationship, and them look very similar just depending on who the people are.
Yeah.
Like I think there's men who would like talk over me and be degrading to me.
Yeah.
And there are lesbians who have done that to me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, and I guess it's different because they are lesbians, so they're not straight men, so they have a different experience in the world. But I am just like, I don't know what advice I'd give to a person who's like, oh, I wish I could explore. I guess I'm like any relationship. If you're in any relationship, if you're in a monogamous relationship, you then cut yourself off from going to any other countries, really.
Yeah. I would say to that person, it's okay. So if you're like newly like lesbian or like you're bi or something, saying that you hate, like if you're dating a man and you're trying to integrate into sapphic culture, I think it's a misunderstanding of what it means to be a sapphic, because sapphics will joke we are gay because we hate men, but the honest to God truth is like that's not what happens, right?
Yeah.
And so it may be you projecting, you think that we're gay because we hate men.
Yeah.
And so in that case, it's a misunderstanding of sapphic culture. It's close but no cigar. And I say, just try to make more queer friends and you'll soon pick up on the fact that, yeah, we all hate dudes, but that's not why we're gay, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who hate dudes who are straight and date men and marry men that they hate.
And that's also like that's a very centering man response, because in gay culture, it's like not a common thing for partners to hate each other.
No.
So you're bringing over a custom from a male-centered culture
I
into
love the word custom. Really makes me laugh. It's like a custom. I don't know.
It's a custom but yeah.
To absolutely fucking hate your husband.
Yeah.
But it really is. But sometimes I'm also like, if you're dating a man, and you're committed, you're like, I'm dating a man, and you're like, I am bisexual, or I'm whatever you don't know, but you know you're interested in other genders as well. That's great, and that is valid, obviously, and true for you. But sometimes it's like, you need to maybe check the amount of validation you need. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think some people, part of that is being like, just so you guys know, I'm gay, but I hate my boyfriend. Or my boyfriend is so gross. Or like, I've heard it so many times. People say, my boyfriend's the only guy but like men are disgusting, but he's fine, but like I am gay. And it's like, great, you don't need to prove anything to me that I think you're more, because also like, we still live very different lives. I live like I was saying, I live a completely different life than someone who lives in South Carolina. Who's gay. I don't need to speak, and I continue to like check myself and be like, oh, I gotta make sure I know what's going on there. I don't need to speak on what it's like being a lesbian in South Carolina, because I'm absolutely not. And that's with like every single tier of privilege, which it's like, I feel like in every topic there's 9 million tiers of privilege of like, well, it's easy for you because you don't have to XYZ, but it's harder for you because maybe you don't, whatever. But I think sometimes there is this want to prove that you're queer in a way that feels kind of like it is putting down other people in your life that you love. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and it has the opposite effect, because like I said, like everyone can decenter men, and when you meet bisexuals and pansexual girls specifically who have decentered men, you can recognize it not even just by how they dress, but how they speak about their partner, right? If they're in a relationship with a man, if they've decentered men, they love him, right? Like they talk about his interests, but they are their own person. At no point does any sort of resentment or hate come up, because that's like not what centering, like that's not what decentering men is. Hate is a part of centering men's culture. And so like when you can hear the difference between someone who has decentered men and centered men, and bisexuality is like, and how they talk about their boyfriend. Yeah. If you've decentered, it's so loving, right? Yeah. This is their life partner. In the still centering, it sounds like I hate him so much. He's the only guy I'd ever choose. Yeah. Because none of my bisexual girlfriends would ever just be like, yeah, he's it. He's holding me back. That's not how they live their lives. And
because I think it starts to get viewed as almost political, because it's like, well, if I hate men, That means I hate the patriarchy, which means I'm liberal.
Yeah.
So if I'm really liberal, I'm also gay. And it's like,
But that's such a binary way of thinking.
Yes.
And so queer culture is non-binary. And so if you think there's only two options, if you love them, that means you got to hate something else. It's like, no, the fact that you're still thinking in a binary and categorizing it like that means that you have not integrated into queer culture.
Because also, I mean, gay people have been around forever.
Yeah.
So gay people have been around a lot longer than the Democratic or Republican Party. Gay people have been around for literally ever. So it's like there were people who were lesbians way back in the day who had so much internalized misogyny and hated women themselves and hated gay people, and we're still gay and still we're like, gotta have sex with my handmaiden because I gotta, because I love her. And it's like, those people were also gay.
Yeah.
So being gay has nothing to do with hating men. There are people who hate women who are lesbians.
Yeah.
I've like met lesbians who I went on a date. Like I went on a date with a person who I never went on a second date with, but they were like, I could never date someone who is non-binary because like I only date women. And they were just like, but we've all met these lesbians. They're like, I love pussy. I love. It's like, good God, would you calm yourself?
Yeah.
It is 9 a.m. at a coffee shop. You don't need to be saying I love pussy. Like, but they're just so obsessed with it, and it's very almost like what they think of as a really stereotypical man. Is what they think they are, and it's like almost like maybe where they're from, that was what was acceptable. It's like, well, if you're gay, you just have to act like you're a man.
Yeah.
Because even though those are completely not the same. So they say this stuff that's just like, you're no better than my Trump-supporting cousin who hates his wife. Like, you're the same thing. You're saying the same type of stuff.
Yeah.
Because why? You want me to identify as a woman because you want, like, what? So I'm a woman? Like, what is that? I don't understand. Like, that's just so bizarre. So I think there's so much. There's definitely lesbians who are horrible. It's like that. It's, I always feel, I know people say it's offensive when straight women are like, I wish I was gay.
Yeah.
And I know
what they're trying to say.
But I always have sympathy because I'm like, I do know it, right. I know what you're trying to say, and it's deeply sad.
Yeah.
Which is like, I've never felt like I've been able to like connect or be loved in the way that I've seen women love other women.
Yeah.
Or non-binary people. And I'm like, that is very sad. But I truly always tell them, I'm like, if you work on yourself and date people and you work on like your dating habits and you date people who respect you, you'll start to feel like you're in more of a queer relationship, even if it's with a man.
No, exactly. You when you work on yourself and when you start to date people who genuinely truly like you, you're gonna the I wish I was gay thing will start to fade away.
Yeah, because when you haven't worked on those things and you're gay, you date horrible people. I mean, it is not different over here. I'm like, it is, yes, dating men is different because they have been socialized in such an insane way.
Yeah.
But also, like, I mean, we're moving towards a world where hopefully good men are starting to be like, oh, I'm learning how to respect women and value their opinions and whatever.
Yeah.
So those men do exist. I'm just like, you have to. But if you're dating men who don't respect you, you're going to date women who don't respect you. Mm-hmm. And you're not gay, so it's going to be, you're going to be not respected and unattracted to them is what it sounds like.
Bumping butts. No, I actually don't know what you'll, but yeah, so.
We don't know how lesbians have sex.
Center your own, love, intimacy, and connection. You're like, so if I decenter men, what do I center? You don't center women. That's actually an overcorrection. You should center your friendships, but like center yourself, your love, intimacy, connection, and then integrating into a gay space will be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a cultural thing. We can hear when you're not of the culture. Sorry, I just love culture anthropology.
It's so funny. Anyways, happy Pride, okay? Thank you for joining us for this special little Pride episode where Sarah and I, two lesbians, talk about being lesbians. I love being a lesbian.
Yeah, we should have talked in that tone the entire time. We're just two
like
lesbians.
We should do an NPR episode where we do the whole episode in that voice.
Oh yeah, but something awful.
Yeah.
Like the ethics of true crime. So true crime is yeah.
Yes. NPR's probably done an episode about that, I bet.
Probably, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, make sure to rate us 5 stars. And if you're on YouTube giving us a watch, thank you so much. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes.
And just make sure that you have a wonderful week.
Yes.
And if you're gay in any way, we love you.
We do.
That's all.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.